You guys can't hear her.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear
I
me?
hear you, Candace.
You can hear me?
Hey, we got you now. I can hear you now. Yep.
Hey, success. Okay.
Thank you, Randy. Bye.
Thank you, Marisol. I'm cursed. This meeting is cursed. All right. Let's call the meeting to order. It is 6:05. And let's see, who do we have here? We've got Jim Polstro, Eric Alvarez, Randy Heuser, Bill Fahrenwald, Allan Stevo, Ted Ruthenberg. I know that Mike was trying to join the meeting. I don't see him yet.
Yeah, he's calling in right now, Candace.
Okay.
Michael, you should be there now.
I'm here.
Okay. Then Mike Mech is there. All right. So, Allan Stevo, Bill Fahrenwald, Mike Mech. Okay. Ted Ruthenberg's here. I did not receive any emails before I left the house for public comment. I don't know if anybody else has anything, but I did not see any. So we will just move on to the Public Works report. Jim, if you want to go ahead and start.
Okay. So for last month, we did 145 tons of asphalt. 13 street lights were repaired. 14 plus ComEd lights were requests for, were submitted. 87 20-yard dumpsters of waste. 1 20-yard dumpster of tires was hauled away. And, we did our water testing on the first and second Tuesday of the month. And the meters were read. That's it.
That's it. Okay. Any questions for Jim?
I have a question of Jim.
Sure, go ahead, Alderman Stevo.
Jim, were you able to get the pump station on Vincennes pumps placed?
I'm sorry, what?
The pumping station on Vincennes, was that repaired?
Was it repaired? Not yet. Well, it all depends which repair. We had Metropolitan out there this morning. They got out there about 7:30 this morning. That was the repair to 40 horsepower was growling, so they came out to make a couple adjustments. But I think you're probably referring to is the altitude valve, which is ordered the parts, and they're waiting for the parts to for the altitude. Then they're going to measure up. And they're going to come out and put that in, if that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, that was it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, there's always something going on.
Alderman Fahrenwald got one for Jim.
Okay.
Okay, Alderman.
Jim, with the last city council, we passed the ordinance for the restricted parking on the streets along Western. Do you know what the plan is, or when when we'll be putting up signs to reflect the residents only parking?
Well, the signs were ordered. We had to order custom made, resident parking only. So there's a sign that says resident parking only. Then there's a resident parking only with a left arrow, and there's a resident parking only with a right arrow. So we can define the areas. So we just don't put it up in the middle of the street and then it'll be the whole block and there'll be like businesses at the end. So we counted up what we needed, and then we had to get approval because it was a substantial order.
Right.
Actually, everything's getting approved through the finance director. And so from there, they were ordered. So we're waiting on delivery.
Okay.
We haven't got the signs in yet. So once the signs come in, we plan on putting them up.
Okay.
So once the signs come in, we'll call a Julie, where we're gonna have to pound a sign in or drill a hole in the concrete, or depends where it's gonna be. If it's gonna go on an existing pole, that's fine.
Yeah.
But at that point, that'll be, we'll call the Julie locates in, and it's a 48-hour wait on that then.
Okay. So,
So soon. So we're talking within a week or two.
okay, fine. I was going to say within a month or two, but that's great. Okay.
No. Yeah, the signs have been ordered.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jim.
Okay, anything else? Okay, we have two handicap parking ordinances. I'm just gonna put them together. One is for handicap parking for 2551 Grove Street. And the second one is for handicap parking for 2416 New Street. I need a motion.
I'll move that the ordinance be
Okay,
accepted.
Alderman
I'll
Stevo, I need a second.
second.
Alderman Trammell. Okay. Take a roll call vote. Alderman Trammell,
Aye.
Alderman Stevo,
Aye.
Alderman Mech.
Aye.
I'll vote aye. All in favor, motion carries. Randy, did Kimberly Byrne join our call? Randy?
I don't see her on the,
Yeah, she was supposed to do a presentation on city parking lots. I'm not sure that belongs in our committee, but she wanted to talk to us about possibilities for various city parking lots. And I just wanted to point out that,
She's on the phone now.
is she on the phone?
She's trying
Okay,
to,
Yeah, she's here.
okay. Can you let her in, Randy?
Oh, we're trying. Kimberly? Well, she's both on a phone and a device.
Probably having the same problem I'm having.
I don't know what it is. Kimberly? She does.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Technical. For some reason, my video is not working correctly either, so.
Okay, well, you're here this is Candace, and you're here just in time, because I just said, well, Kimberly's supposed to be here. She's next up on the agenda, so.
Yeah, I can hear you guys, and I can see you guys, but for whatever reason, you guys can't see me, so. Anyway, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but should I begin?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Kimberly Byrne. I'm the chairman of the Blue Island Zoning Board of Appeals and a Blue Island resident. I'm interested in reconsidering how the city of Blue Island thinks about its city-owned parking lot. The city's employees and city vehicles utilize city-owned parking. City businesses also use this parking for themselves and for their customers. Based on the growing need of commercial city parking, I believe that the time has come to take city parking lot operations to the next level that helps to coordinate abutting business needs with opportunities for the city to potentially supplement cost management with varying ways to establish revenue streams that would support the cost to maintain and operationalize one of the city of Blue Island's biggest assets. I believe this is a win-win situation. We're seeing the area where Vermont Street, Western Avenue, that area of the city is growing with the Vault, Ravens. You've got a new business going in next to Eagles. There's Ophelia's Banquets that's going to be heard through the Zoning Board of Appeals. That parking lot is going to be utilized, I think, a lot more. It already is. Using the Vault, for example, is using it a lot more in the evenings. But we took a survey, basically, the ZBA took a survey of the businesses that abutted that parking lot, and there seems to be concern with the greater need. Ophelia's is going to require at least 20 to 30 parking spots in addition to Eagles if it has a fish fry, or their league nights, Crave, the Vault, or Ravens, or anybody else wanting to use that parking lot during the day. It's used by postal system, the postal service. It's becoming, it's going to become a problem, I think. As a casual kind of parking lot environment, I think there's going to be more problems, and I wanted to bring it to the attention of the City Council and Municipal Services and the other, community development, that I think that there's an opportunity that we could work with this and make it better, but it's something that we need to think about before it becomes a problem, rather than wait till it becomes a problem. So both daytime business needs and evening business needs are being used. Our city is really designed as a daytime city, but it's becoming a lot more of a nighttime city as well. The open flexibility of first come makes sense when our city is lacking business interest, but not when our business interest picks up. A casual management approach lacks thoughtful accountability, doesn't provide any guidance in how to utilize the space in a more coordinated manner, and doesn't offer the city any supplemental consideration, meaning cost management, other than parking on the local neighborhood streets. Potentially, it could be a free-for-all, which I think would be more of a problem. And in a city that's self-insured, we've got a police force that's trying to manage more and more requirements with their time. So I wanted to propose a couple of solutions, a short-term solution and a long-term solution. A short-term solution would be to install a parking vending machine on heavy used city-owned parking lots. It would be lower cost, and it would be more useful on heavily used parking lots, such as the one next to Harry's Long Bar, the one that's across from the post office. I know that these two parking lots are busy during the day and in the evenings, and it's going to start forcing people to park out into the neighborhoods. So I don't think that the parking vending machine is going to stop it, but what it's going to do is it's going to offer an opportunity to control it and maybe even suggest more controlled ride sharing type of opportunities. The employees could still park free during the day, and city business employees, but you could have controlled parking by need. Weekdays, you could park 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and charge less. Weekdays, evenings, 6 to 2 a.m., maybe charge more. weekend days and evenings charge more from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. This would continue to allow parking, but it may also help to supplement the cost of the parking lot maintenance, as well as to control the parking that's coming into the city in the evenings. I know that they can go down to the metro lot as well, but convenience is going to rule. So it's just a consideration. Long-term or future planning for increased parking lot usage would be to consider, again, the heavily used parking lots. For example, as a multi-level parking, multi-use development opportunity. We could look at that. I would consider looking at that as the best bang for our buck. We've got a large parking lot kind of in the middle of the city that we half own. If we fully owned that, that's a great piece of property to develop, to provide more broad parking, maybe multi-level and multi-level use for development. So the idea would be to partner with a developer where the city owns the multi-level parking, and the developer could develop more business sites, perhaps a hoteling site, maybe multi-use condos, again, not too high, but to follow the city architecture design requirements and design it such that it's a natural fit for the city look, height requirements, parking utilization requirements, and bring more customers to that local area due to the opportunities and convenience, and also provide a useful stream of revenue for the city and decrease some of the parking requirements that are, I believe, going to be a challenge going forward. I believe that we can cherish our history, but I also believe that we need to look to our future. Thank you. Any questions?
Chairperson Burns, this is Allan Stevo. I'd like to thank you for your interest in this matter and your hard work, and the members of the ZBA and their hard work and diligence. And I'd like to see this kept on the agenda for the October meeting and see where it might lead. I think it's very important.
Municipal Services October meeting?
Yes.
Isn't that what this is?
Yeah, for November. I'm sorry, for November, to keep it on the agenda.
Alderman Stevo, I don't know that this really belongs in our committee. It's interesting information to have, but Municipal Services doesn't run the parking lots. We basically take care of street maintenance and water.
Chairman, I would also let you know that this is on tomorrow night's agenda for community development.
Okay.
So I thought these two might be the two.
I do think that it does belong in community development, because they would be the ones. Although I think this eventually would have to go back to the zoning board, wouldn't it? If you're going, if you're going to make changes to our parking accessibility and ordinances regarding parking, I think that would go back to zoning.
Yes. Howard would probably then present it more formally, maybe in an ordinance.
Yeah.
But it needs to go through planning as well, so, because it would be in charge of the city. And there's two proposals, so it's...
We could carry it forward to next month, but I think it would be purely informational.
Alderman Carr, it just seems that it falls under a service. We're providing a service to the community, and that's parking. That's what I was thinking of.
If I might, yeah,
go ahead.
Kind of suggestion there. I understand Alderman Stevo, and I think that Municipal Services Committee certainly has an interest in it. I can see, why we would want to be kept up to speed, but I would think that its primary home would be in community development. I kind of agree with Alderman Carr that that'd be the primary place that would deal with it. There might be issues that it would raise for municipal services I can see that's potential that we'd want to be aware of it. And of course, it's going to have to go through finance as well. And as you say, zoning, ZBA, and obviously our planning group in the city needs to kind of shepherd this from a standpoint. So I don't know that there's not too much, it doesn't seem to me that municipal services can do about this right at the moment, because I think that community development should have to lead, but I think it would be helpful for us to be kept, kind of up to date on the developments. And
Sure.
and Kimberly, I also do want to thank you. It's some good thinking. I think I agree with you. I was on Plan Commission for a number of years, and it's good to think about these things and to start to prepare for them, because there are changes coming. I mean, they're good ones. It seems like we're getting more business. So the use of the parking lots, can be used, I think you're right, as an asset to the city in a number of ways. And, if we can think about how we'll manage it now and start to prepare for it, that's great. So I appreciate what you've done, and I support, your ideas, and, we'll be curious to hear, how they play out.
If I can interject here, I think it might also be interesting to put it through public safety, because if anybody's going to enforce this, it would be the police department. So they should be aware of it also, that this would be something coming down the line.
Totally agree. Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, Alderman Fahrenwald and Alderman Stevo. I appreciate your time and your comments.
Well, thank you very much for your work and coming here to give us a summary of what's going on. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I believe Betty had sent me her report along with an email saying that she was going to be unable to attend. So you should all have a copy of the report. I can go over it real quickly if you want. You can read it for yourself. Yes?
I read it. I'm good.
You read it? You're good? Okay. I'll just mention the bottom line here. Total to the city and outstanding water bills in delinquent accounts is $34,155.48. And actually, I think under the circumstances, Betty's doing a great job.
I agree with you, Alderman Carr. I think Betty is doing an excellent job.
Okay, I don't know, is Mr. Jackson here with us? I don't see him on the screen.
No, he's not.
Okay, he sent a report, which I sent out to all of you. You can see where Municipal Services fixed the sign for the park rules. I don't know if Jim Polstrill's still with us, but I'd like to thank Municipal Services for that, because it saved us about $700. And then there was an incident in September where some damage was done. And under monthly activities completed, they had the annual monthly inspection to the heating and air conditioning units. The next inspection and service will be in April. New wood mulch has been delivered to be spread around the gardening beds. Also, the mulch was used by Public Works to be distributed in areas that need mulch. And the rec center is continuously being sanitized and cleaned daily to prevent the spread of COVID-19. He's got a note here: the walking club is available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. for anyone who would like to start their day off with some exercise. A mask or a face covering is required. I had on the agenda under the rec center, no parking when the park is closed signs. There was a couple of emails that went back and forth about that, and I think we're just going to leave that be. Apparently it wasn't as big of a problem as people first thought it was, and I'm sorry, my mind just went blank. Alderman Annette, for some reason I can't think of her last name. Anyways, she said that. I'm sorry?
Alexander.
Yes, Annette Alexander. She said that her concern was that people who were having guests come to their home, that was a place where they could park, And the incidences where there was a problem down there, I think there was only 2 of them, and so they kind of decided to let that go. On the other hand, public safety has some prototype signs made up that say that there's no people are allowed in city parks after it would be after dusk. When the parks are closed, there would be no one allowed on the property. And so that's probably going to come up in our next meeting. I didn't have time to get it on this agenda. So, Mr. Ruthenberg, I know you're out there. Ted?
Hello. Here I am. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Eddie?
Hello, Chairperson. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. Hello. How is everyone? Let's see here. Oh, I have some internet service here. Okay. Chairperson Carr, were you able to send out what I sent you this morning by chance?
I did send it out.
Okay, so I just wanted to provide the committee with an update on the financials here at the golf course. Year to date, we have brought in $880,000, and our expenses right now are right around $560,000. But what I do want to remind, and Alderman Fahrenwald, you had asked for this last time, so that's why I kind of wanted to do this.
Appreciate it.
But I do want the committee to remember that once it does get cold, there are, 4 months there where we need to pay contractual services that we have contracts for. So that's why that number normally doesn't stay at, that high. So that will, I can't tell you exactly where it's going to be. Hopefully we'll get some nice weather and we can play golf later into the year here. But that is where we're at.
Thank you. Teddy. Appreciate it. It looks like we're going in a pretty good direction through the end of the year. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. The weather looks good. I mean, we usually look at it by the 10-day forecast. The next 10 days look okay. So hopefully we'll just keep getting customers and see how it goes.
All right. Thank you.
I did some quick math, and it looks like, at least as of now, we have a profit of $328,000. So hopefully that would hold us through the end of the year on the golf course.
Yeah, and so like some of these numbers, obviously due to COVID, I mean the alcohol sales are down 24%, but also the greens fees are up 22%. So I mean, I'm comparing to last year. So I mean, we've been busy, definitely, just with the bar and the alcohol sales. With the golf outings not happening, the alcohol sales just aren't there.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Did you get any more quotes on golf ball netting?
So Alderman, I have only that one so far and that number was pretty high, $20,000. I've also been looking for some quotes for along 123rd Street. Lately, I think I've sent about 4 damage claims to judiciary here in the last month or two. So that's something I would like to get a price for as well for everyone. But I'm still working on the netting quotes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions? No? Okay. Robinson Engineering.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Chairperson Carr. 2 things on the agenda for today. The first is we have an LED lighting program that Miller and everyone have been working with for some years now, and we're finally really getting there. So I know there's probably a lot of you have heard a little bit about this program. as through the years, but I wanted to give everybody an update and just let everyone know where we're at, which is really good. We had a request for proposals put out by ComEd's energy efficiency partner, which is called Elevate Energy. And basically what we're looking to do is replace in 2 phases all of the city's old-fashioned high-intensity discharge streetlights with new technology LED streetlights, which will save the city in energy costs and save the city also in maintenance costs. So we have been working with Elevate Energy and Cook County Community Development Block Grant for a low-interest loan finance. The idea with the financing is that it will, the cost of the loan will be paid for with the energy savings that the lights bring or realize for the city. We have a number of different alternatives we can do with the financing because we're trying to tackle all of the city's parking lot lights, and a number of the lights are also in the TIF districts. So there's a number of financing options we can go through and work through here, but really just the gist of this program is that we're going to try in 2 phases to replace all of the old-fashioned city streetlights with new energy efficient, high reliability LED lights. We got 4 responses to our request for quotation, our request for proposal from a company called PDC, Echo Lighting, H&H Electric, and the Will Group. Of those 4, H&H Electric and the Will Group are basically nose to nose on price, with H&H Electric being a little bit more economical by about $3,000. So with the city's agreement, we'd be looking forward to moving forward with H&H Electric, who's a very well-known municipal scale lighting contractor. They do a lot of traffic signal and street light work, including in Blue Island and the surrounding suburbs. And we would be taking this to finance. I can also, Chairperson Carr, if it sounds like a good idea to you, I can walk you through kind of the finance, like how much this is going to cost and what the likely amount of energy savings would be. But I don't want to kill you all with the numbers. So let me know how much, maybe just a brief overview.
Yeah, that would be good. We actually have time.
Okay.
We're not running out of time this meeting, so yeah, why don't you give us an overview?
Okay. So I'm just going to go with the lowest bidder because otherwise, just to save confusion. So the city can choose from any one of these requests for quotations, but the low bidder was H&H Electric. The loan finance rate is 2.99%, and a loan length of 10 years, which is also the design life of of modern street lighting. So that doesn't mean all of them are going to last for 10 years, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they're going to last for 20 years. It's just these lights are expected to no longer be serviceable, the majority of them after 10 years. So we wanted the loan amount to match the service life of the life so that we're not paying back something longer than it's likely to still be useful. Okay, so H&H bid, we've got, let me give you the numbers too. So the city east and west in the parking lots, and you would have seen in the documentation, all the way in the back, there's a map where we're talking about 143 parking lots and 253 street lights, of which 66 lights are available for funding from TIF 5. The total bid price from H&H Electric was $164,700, which is roughly $400 a street light. And then we have the option of paying for them either out of a combination of TIF 5 and the parking lot fund, or in any way that we could imagine. But basically, the maximum loan amount is $100,000. If we use the TIF 5 funding, of which there's a lot of funding available for TIF 5 for this sort of infrastructure, and the minimum amount of the parking lot fund, I think that would be the scenario that I would suggest. So we use the maximum out of TIF 5, the minimum out of the parking lot fund, and then ComEd also gives us an energy efficiency incentive, which is money from the federal government for modernizing the city systems. Okay, put all those numbers together, it's about $64,000. It's about $65,000, and there's $100,000 needed to be financed out of this loan amount, which again is through Cook County Community Development Block Grant. So the monthly payment on a loan of that size is $965, and using the wattage saved per month. And please don't take this quote as like it's going to be exactly this dollar amount. I mean, there's lights that maybe aren't working now. There's lights that have been replaced with much more wattage bulbs, but using just the calculated amounts in our estimates, we have over $2,000 worth of energy savings per month, and the cost of the loan is $965 per month. So I think we can pretty confidently say that we will be at least not paying any additional. The city will be net saving money on this project from the start, not taking into account that $64K that's coming from the comment hit 5 in the parking lot. So I think that's a summary. We also included in the packet the lighting equipment that's proposed. They're General Electric street lights. Again, they're very modern LED lighting, state-of-the-art lights, and also General Electric area lights for the parking lots. If anybody's curious about these lights, you can see, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the Chatham Street Bridge, at the south end of the Chatham Street Bridge, there's a General Electric street light in place. So
Yeah.
You'll see the light color is a little bit different from the color that people are used to. And I just wanted to point out is one thing, like people are definitely going to comment. Not everybody notices this stuff, but the light's a lot whiter than the traditional yellow street light. So we will get comments, but the light's more focused. It's more energy efficient. And in my opinion, it's also better for public safety because the police can accurately identify colors, and green cars don't look blue and blue cars don't look green and red doesn't look green. And so it's modern, it's energy efficient, it's reliable. And in my opinion, it's an improvement on public safety too. So, yeah, I think that's it. So does anybody have any questions on this? What we'd be looking to do is take this information to finance so they can tell us to, what combination of financing they want.
Eric, this is Alderman Stevo.
Yes,
Go ahead,
Alderman.
Alderman.
Yes, how much will Robinson charge the city for this work?
So Robinson won't charge the city anything for this work. This is a project, but again, from H&H Electric, and it would be, the contract would be administered by the city. Alderman Stevo, I would recommend some level of construction observation, and that can be determined later. So basically have an inspector, and Public Works can definitely do this as well. I mean, Public Works is in charge of the street lighting maintenance, but have some kind of inspector, be it from Robinson Engineering or from Public Works, to just watch the first couple of days of installation, make sure they're happy with everything. If there's any old wiring problems that they need to be fixed, I think that's another thing that definitely points us to H&H Electric being the right contractor for this job. But long story short, this isn't like Robinson Engineering isn't going to be doing the installation, won't be charging the city really anything unless, except for coordination with ComEd and the city. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I have a question for you, Eric. You say that they're putting in these new lights. Are they putting in new poles also, or are they just putting in new fixtures at the top of the poles?
Chairperson Carr, this is only the light fixture at the top of the pole. Basically,
Okay.
any like structural work, like a pole that needed to be replaced, or if there was faulty wiring that we needed to fix, that would all cost extra, and it would be something, I think what we would do is we would talk to Public Works about it, and then we'd bring it to finance. But this is just the light.
Eric, I got a question just about
Yes.
the light color and so forth. Are these lights also like the lights I'm seeing now on ComEd poles and alleys and so forth? I mean, is or not? Is the color similar to that?
Alderman Fahrenwald, they're definitely similar to that. My understanding is the majority of the ComEd street lighting is actually either Leotech or the same General Electric street light. And the color temperatures can vary depending on what people order, but right now the state of the art is pretty much either 3,000 or 4,000 Kelvin, which is, I won't even get into that, but yes, a short story. Yes, this should be very similar.
I know it's a judgment call, it's a personal thing, but I think they're great. We spend a lot of time in the alleys with our dog, and it's a very nice light. It's easier on your eyes. It's a nice color. That's not why we're doing it, I know, and it's just my opinion, but I think they're nice.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Fahrenwald. Did anybody have any additional questions on the lighting?
I have a question for Jim Postro.
Sure.
Jim, do you have any experience with H&H Electric?
Not me personally, no.
No.
Yeah. I think right now, City Lights is taking over the bridge. Am I right, Eric? City Lights is doing that.
Yep.
We met with them. I've seen their trucks out there, H&H, but I personally no. Yeah, but I know they're a big outfit.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have a question on this? Okay. We kind of jumped down to C on my agenda. I wanted to ask you, Eric, did you have a chance to look at the sewer plan that Joe Warner had put forth?
Oh, yes, Chairperson Carr, we have been looking at the sewer plant that Joe Warner, that was the water superintendent from about 2010, that plan with the 27-inch bypass pipe near 123rd Street. To answer your question, yes, we are working on that currently with the MWRD and a company called EDI, who's their consultant that's modeling the northeast side of Blue Island. So we're progressing with that. I don't have definitive data for you yet, but we're working with them on the sewer modeling of that bypass. Yes.
Okay, and then do you have a status on the engineering, design, and survey for the Fifth Ward? That was part of the I asked you for a timeline plan for the flooding in the Fifth Ward, and that was one of the first things on the plan. I believe it was the first thing on the plan was that you would begin the engineering, design, and survey in September of this year.
Yes, Alderman Carr. I think I can answer your question now. So we're talking about the 119th Place alley reconstruction and the bioswale at 2050 119th Place, which is the MWRD Green Infrastructure Project Survey and an Investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I can update you on that. The survey is complete. The drilling investigation, which they're gonna where they drill through the alley and they drill into that potential infiltration basin, is tomorrow. So that'll last 2 to 3 days drilling. So yes, we are making progress on that, and that's the status.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Eric, this is Alderman Stevo. Who will be paying for the drilling?
The city of Blue Island will be paying for the drilling.
Did you have time to research the Joe Warner plan?
Yes, Alderman Stevo. So that plan is actually, I'm very familiar with that plan. It's a 2010 plan that Robinson Engineering actually put together very detailed contract plans for that never went to bid. I'm not aware why. And yes, we are working with the MWRD, which is the sewer district, on modeling the effectiveness of that bypass pipe.
And when will you have a decision on that?
I don't know. I'm working with them on the modeling, and depending on how quickly we can get that model working, I could see it being a month, but I don't have a firm date. It's a question of actually hydraulically modeling that with the existing sewer system. And I don't have a firm date for when we could give you that information. And also, when I do have that information for you, it's not going to be a matter of like this fixes the problem or doesn't fix the problem. It's going to be a matter of how much or how little it helped or whether it had any effect at all.
And there's no way of speeding that along.
As in like have an answer for you in the next like week or tomorrow or something like that?
Well, perhaps by next month. Next meeting.
Again, it's not really a matter of like speeding things along. So we're working with the MWRD on it, and we're going as quick as we can, given the amount of coordination that needs to happen to get their existing modeling working with our relief sewer plan. I can to the fastest way would be to get their engineering consultant to actually stick that relief pipe in their existing conditions model. So far, they have been hesitant to do that. I would imagine because EDI, which is their consultant, works for the MWRD and not for Blue Island and not for us, being Robinson Engineering. That is the quickest way, and that's what I haven't given up on them yet on that. They've been very helpful. They've supplied us with their model, but us getting their model going is not a straightforward process. So I don't know if that answers your question or if that's helpful at all.
Well, there is a solution to the problem of the flooding in the northeast section, and we have to remedy that problem. We got to get that done.
Right, I understand that. I understand that it's a priority for the city, and frankly, it's a priority for us as the city engineers. And we're working with that on a number of fronts. This relief sewer being kind of the shortest term possible solution, and on the much longer term working with FEMA.
Erica, we're depending on you. We're depending on you, and when people flood out, it's not a nice thing, and we want to correct this problem, and we're depending on you.
I understand that, Alderman Stevo, and I mean, I understand that completely, and I'm working every day on this problem.
Eric, could I just ask, maybe you could just again briefly outline for us kind of what are the realistic timelines for, forget about funding for the minute, I guess, but just what are the realistic timelines for implementing the short term and then the final long-term solution? What's realistic?
Okay, the short-term solution being, that 27-inch bypass relief sewer, assuming it's in some way effective, because that's not a known quantity. I know I have a lot of background information on that project, and it was never hydraulically modeled. It was this is as big of a relief sewer we can stick in here economically, but assuming that was some way effective, that's something that could be done in the next construction season, so next year in 2021. Any more elaborate small scale system, whether it's like the sort of relief sewer that was investigated in 2012, which outletted to the railroad ditch, that's on the order of the next like 2 to 3 years. This large scale FEMA project, which is the separating the entire sewer system and creating a separate stormwater system with its own separate outlet and detention, is on the order of 5 to 10 years. So extreme short scale next year, medium term 2 to 3 years. This FEMA sewer separation and like large, let's call it large scale relief sewer, 3 to 10 years.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'd like to just.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I talked with Eric, and I met with him. I had him actually asked Eric to be kind enough to come over to my house, and because I wanted to talk with him about some kind of maybe shorter term options, which would be sort of looking at it from the homeowner's perspective, because I think it's pretty obvious that it's it's certainly, like, again, we're not going to have a solution next spring, and maybe we'll have some solution maybe the end of next construction season of some part, and a real solution is 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years away. So and I've had unfortunately in my home a lot of experience with basement flooding, and I've learned a lot of lessons, and I wanted to talk to Eric about how those might be applied to other situations within the city where, there's some need, since there isn't a long-term solution going to be done tomorrow, we all got to do everything we can do within our own properties to help ourselves. And there are things that can be done that are, almost no cost or cost, and there are some things that can be done that are fairly high cost. And there's a lot of things I've learned over the time. I've been, I had dealt with my situation for 20 years, and I got my situation down to the point where I get a little seepage in the basement, but it's all quite livable. Used to be several inches of water from time to time. And so we've reviewed those things. I reviewed those things with Eric and talked about the possibility of having some kind of resource available from the city that would be available to go out to homeowners and assess their situation, take a look at what's going on in their particular property and provide them with, kind of almost consulting or ideas of things that they could do that would, again, be potentially very low cost, and some things that maybe they'll spend some money on if they have it. And maybe there's even some ways down the road where the city could, provide some kind of assistance. That Eric has provided us a little information on those kind of ideas. So given that, we're at least a minimum of a year away from any kind of significant fix, and maybe and probably longer, I'd really like to see that idea explored by the city. And I think, I talked to Eric, and he seems to have, some ideas about that as well. So Eric, could you maybe give us your perspective on that?
Yes, for sure. Thank you, Alderman Fahrenwald. So, again, last month we talked about the possibility of a cost share program for various improvements that a homeowner could do to their house to at least help with these problems in the short term. And so those range from things like simply regrading around the house if they're having seepage problems in the basement, to checking the service line of the house to make sure that they don't have a blocked outlet, and having that rotted, jetted, and cleaned if they do, all the way up to, overhead sewers, which can cost many thousands of dollars and involve, sump pumps, pumping systems, and reshaping the drainage of the house into the yard and ultimately into the sewer. And what I think is a good idea, and even Public Works has said, is this was actually the first time anybody talked to me about it was Public Works, and they said, what we really need to do is have some kind of education materials, at least where people can not help themselves, but like we can help them, show them maybe different things they can do. And I think one thing I would really like everybody to just keep in mind is, like, I think the most valuable thing we could do is have like one of the city's plumbing inspectors go out to somebody's house if they have an issue, because we don't want them wasting their money on something that's not effective. Maybe the city's plumbing inspector could go out to these houses and say, look, maybe a check valve is a good idea in this house. Look, the way you're describing it, I really think you should have your service inspected to make sure you're not, we're not putting in a $4,000 check valve when really the problem is your service has roots growing through it and the water can't get away. So I think there's a number of things, just like Alderman Fahrenwald's doing. Like he showed me, there's like a little check valve that can go in the floor drain, and that's an inexpensive solution. But ultimately, I think the city's plumbing inspectors and the city's building department could potentially help us out greatly here. Going to these houses and suggesting things that were effective in the meantime, while the city works on a bigger solution.
Okay. Well, with that, I think we're going to have to, I'm going to have to ask for a motion to adjourn. We've got 2 minutes before the city council.
Chairperson Carr, I have one more statement for Eric. Eric, I was speaking about the October 2012 Joe Warner plan, not the 2010. October 2012.
Sure, Alderman Stevo, what we're talking about is the 27-inch relief pipe. I mean, that was in the works for a number of years. Like I said, but that's what we're talking about, right?
Well, it was the October 2012 plan, and there were 3 options in that plan. It was the October 2012
right.
plan.
I remember them. I remember
options.
them. And yes, I remember them, Alderman Stevo. Yes, but yes, we're talking about the same thing.
We're gonna have to, I'm gonna need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, moved. I
Need a second?
Second, Mech.
Okay. Do we need to take a roll call on that? Got Alderman Fahrenwald. Aye. Alderman Mech.
Aye.
Alderman Stevo.
Aye.
Myself, I'll say aye. Okay, meeting is adjourned. See